G'day, it's Brak here, and welcome to another video, a video with a difference. And today I'm going to be talking about rules that upset me, and it's coming up very shortly. G'day, it's Brak here, and in this video I want to talk about the 5 rules in 40k which don't make sense. Now this is from the point of view of what if this game was set in the real world. Would these conditions actually happen if 40k was real? This discussion is not about making armies stronger, or is it about helping me win games? Although I could do with a win from time to time. This video is about having a game set which makes more sense from the point of view of the fluff. As always, this discussion will focus on orcs. While thinking about these rules in preparation for this video, I channeled my inner war boss. So let's get on with the list. Rule number 5. Gretchen don't get clan cultures. The rule: units comprised entirely of Gretchen cannot benefit from any clan culture. In addition, Ork stratagems can only be used if the stratagem explicitly states so, e.g. the Grot Shield stratagem. This comes out of Orks Codex, page 124. This really gets my goat. I just can't understand this one at all. Here we are talking about a race, or possibly sub-races, of sporing humanoid fungi with an innate psychic ability, or abilities. Now these psychic abilities, which by all counts is one of the reasons why clan cultures work in the first place. What this codex has basically done is reduced the Gretchen to nothing more than just servants. They are much more than that. They are the cornerstone of Ork society. Stuff would literally not get done if there was not a Grot doing it. Now I believe that this is an innate ability, the ability of Grots just doing what they do, is something that the old ones genetically added to their fungoid creations. I find it very hard to accept that the old ones would not put a dash of clan culture into a Gretchen variant. After all, you would hope that a Grot shows similar traits to the clan they just happen to spawn near. Now, what is the simple fix? Just give the Gretchen clan traits. Rule number 4. Units must disembark from a vehicle before it moves. Now this rule comes from the Warhammer 40,000 rulebook, page 183. Any unit that begins its movement phase embarked within a transport can disembark before the transport moves. When a unit disembarks, set it up on the battlefield so that all the models are within 3 inches of the transport and not within 1 inch of any enemy models. Any disembarking models that cannot be set up in this way is slain. Now, when I envision Ork transports on the battlefield, I see crudely built vehicles rushing into the fray with Ork bodies hanging off it, waving their weapons in the air, eager to get their crump on. The closer they get, the more eager they get, until they lunge themselves into the enemy and have a good old time. There are many instances in the lore and in books which show this very orkish behaviour. Now, what I don't envision, or even see in the lore or the fluff, is Orks just parking their trucks and the boys getting off all civilized and then marching into the battle, and then the truck mows off wherever trucks go off into that direction. It just doesn't make sense. What this rule seems to do, it just limits assault-based armies once again. Come on, let's get away from 40k being a shooting game. Let's get back into the crumping. We Orks love to crump, and we need to see more of it. Okay, A simple fix: allow disembarkation from open top vehicles at the end of the movement phase. You can restrict further movement here and restrict the shooting and results as per the normal rules associated with the codex. Rule number 3. Meks cannot fix vehicles while inside them. This covers 2 separate rules. As for the rules for the big mechs is slightly different from the mech rules. However, the context is still the same. Here's the big mechanic rule. At the end of the movement phase, this model can repair a single friendly clan vehicle model within 3 inches. That model regains D3 lost wounds. A vehicle can only be repaired once per turn. Now the mechanic rule's fairly similar, except he's got to be within 1 inch of the model, and then the model only regains 1 lost wound. And that's the differences. So very similar there. Again, shaking my head. So you're telling me a truck gets shot, a piece of it falls off, then the mech says, hey, I've got to stop so I can fix this thing. Now, to quote the Doug Anthony All-Stars, sounds like bullshit, Barry. The mech or big mech will be scampering all over the truck, fixing it as it hurtles towards the enemy. Now, a big mech's not gonna let a few silly things like a few bullets gonna hurt him, gonna get in his way of doing what he has to do. Now, I think this rule is one case where the rules as intended doesn't match up with the rules as written. I suspect this rule has been interpreted wrong in the community because some folk find the concept of zero, just find that they just don't get it. You know, if you're in the truck, you should be within 1 inch as you're in the truck, and 0 is less than 1. You know, I have had many a frustrating conversation about this rule, but it is what it is. The community's decided that this is the way it should be interpreted, and yeah, that's just the way it's gonna be. Now, a simple fix for this is to just add into the rule: a model can use this rule whilst in a vehicle, but can only fix the vehicle he is in. Simples. Rule number 2. Strats or stratagems can't be used in an open top vehicle. Now, I believe this rule came out of an FAQ. Here's the ruling. The question was, do stratagems used on a transport affect units embarked within that transport? For example, if I use more DACA on a battle wagon, do any units embarked inside benefit from it? In addition, can you use stratagems on units embarked in a transport? E.g., can you use showing off on a Bad Moon's infantry unit embarked within a battle wagon? Answer: no to both. Now, I would dearly love to slap the person who asked this question with my power claw. Ork strategy isn't all that complicated. For the most part, Ork clans have a variation of the following strategy. Move to the fight. If you have a gun, shoot it. When you get close enough to the enemy, you clobber them. That's basically Ork strategies. Now, stratagems, or stratagems as I see them, are nifty little buffs that you can give your unit from time to time. Most of these stratagems are catered for a particular unit or units within a faction. They tend to enhance what a unit might do in the battlefield as they gain experience or get training. So why can't they do this thing they learnt about before while they're in their truck? It just beggars belief. Now, imagine this scenario. Tank Buster Knob. Oi boys, let's do that thing we discussed before at that big thing. Tank Buster. What thing, boss? Tank Buster Knob. You know, the thing where we throw all our bombs at our big thing. Tank Buster. Sorry boss, we can't do that. We is in a truck. Tank Buster Knob. Oh, that's right, me forgot. Carry on, lads. Pretty ridiculous, hey? Now, before I get to number 1, here is a remarkable mention. The fact that there are 2 different types of custom force field. Yeah, look, it's nice and all that we have the custom force field mech back, thanks to the Saga of the Beast, but why does his custom force field work differently than others? We now have one that can only stop shooting, but it does work if you're in a vehicle. And we have another which won't work in a vehicle, but not only can it stop bullets, it can deflect melee weapons as well. And yeah, don't get me started on the custom force field being able to identify what clan your orc happens to be in. Now, I suspect that these are errors in the Psychic Awakening book, which will be cleared up in the next FAQ, whenever that will be. Now, on to the number one rule, which makes no bloody sense whatsoever. Rule number one, flamers can't hit in Overwatch when being charged. Now, this is one of those rulings which come about if you look at two separate rules. Now, here is the Overwatch rule from the Warhammer 40,000 rulebook on page 182. Now, each time a charge is declared against a unit, the target unit can immediately fire Overwatch at the would-be attacker. A target unit can potentially fire Overwatch several times a turn, though it cannot fire if there are enemy models within 1 inch of it. Overwatch is resolved like a normal shooting attack, albeit one resolved in the enemy's charge phase, and it uses all the normal rules, except that a 6 is always required for a successful hit roll, irrespective of the firing model's ballistic skill or any modifiers. Now here is the rule from the shooting part called choose targets. Having chosen a shooting unit, you must pick a target unit or units for the attack. In order to target an enemy unit, a model within that unit must be in range of the weapon being used, as listed in its profile, and be visible to the shooting model. This is Warhammer 40,000 rulebook, page 179. So, okay, let's get this straight. So a weapon can't be fired into a charging army because they started from outside the range of the weapon. How does this work? You're on the battlefield, you're being charged, you have your weapon in hand with your finger over the firing mechanism, and it won't work because the gun knows some strange rules of engagement? Yes, I'm being sarcastic here. Surely, as an enemy unit runs closer, they become in range because, maths, science. Yeah. Sure, flamers with their auto hits might be a bit OP in this regards, but burner boys are quite squishy regardless. It could be, we can play around with the rules a bit to get to sort of make this more fairer. Not sure how, I'd probably think about it a bit more, but I think it's an easy fix, and it just really, guys, I'm sure you're with me on this. Your pistol, your flamers, even your little bombs aren't going to work because the enemy started their charge just a little bit away from how far you can throw that thing, or the flamers can go. Yeah, sorry, I'm calling bullshit on this one too. Okay, well that's that. Brak's list of rules which make no bloody sense from a 40k fluff perspective. So, what do you think? Did I get it right? Or am I speaking out of my big green-blue mushroom butt? Are there any rules you think I missed, or are worse than the ones I listed? If so, please let me know. Tell me in the comments below. And if you liked the video, please like it, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. And remember, if you're going crumpin', bash early and bash often.
There's only war. There's only war. That's how they There's only war. There's only war. There's